Hi, it's Rick Rose from Keller Williams. Here's another podcast coming to you from downtown, beautiful downtown Windsor. Today, I have as my guest Paul McAllister, mortgage broker extraordinaire.
Mortgage agent, just for FISRA.
And we're going to have a little quick discussion about real estate, mortgaging, general economies, and anything else that comes up, anything that comes into our minds today. So, Paul, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Yeah.
And excited. It's an exciting time, for sure. A lot going on in the world.
In the world, man, that is exactly right. We're doing this just as the Trump whole thing is unfolding. So everybody's, a little apprehensive, and there are reasons why not to be, but maybe we'll get into a little bit of that also. Mm-hmm. So what's new in your world? One thing before we really get started, or maybe this is the start of it, is I really want to congratulate you on taking your team out from under another situation and kind of going out on your own. Big step, bold step, the right step for you. So I want to, in my opinion, I want to congratulate you on doing that.
Thank you.
I'm sure you're going to be ultra successful. So
I appreciate it. So I guess what he's talking about is previously I was with Lend City. That's a team within. So I had a brokerage, Dominion Lending Expert Financial. So they're underneath Dominion Lending Center, which is the biggest in Canada. We have about 60 agents in Toronto in that brokerage, and Lend City was a part of that team. So we actually, I formed with the other top agent at Lend City, and we created our own team. So Aaron Liu and I formed a team. We have 6 team members already. It's been gangbusters. It happened around November. We had this big vision for 2025. We were trying to do it within Lend City, and it just didn't work. So we went our own ways, and it's been great. So since basically end of November until now, we've been going gangbusters, getting everything set up, making sure that we want to provide the experience to our clients in a certain way. And so we got a new CRM going. We heavily invested in our technology. And, January, we've done 25% of what we did last year, just in January.
I mean, that is huge.
So we've done a quarter business in 1 month, and, it's all focused.
Two more months and you retire for the rest of the year.
Yeah, there you go. We're at 75. But it's all about the client's needs, the experience, and not just for our realtors, for our clients, but also for our referral partners, right? Our realtors, our referral partners, and we have a lot of cool things that I'm sure we'll get into, and we're excited. And we can offer something, I think, a better experience for our clients, and that's what we're excited about.
So you are based out of you encompass Windsor, mm-hmm. but you're based out of.
Yeah. So
where's your office?
Yeah. So we have an office. I have an office in Amherstburg. A pretty cool office there. We have 8 different desks there for people to work. We have a office in Mississauga as well. That's our main brokerage's office. But we've been people say is Windsor busy? Windsor sure is a big part of our business. But we also have a lot of GTA business. We have a lot of Alberta business, and even BC. And even what's been crazy this year is we had one of our agents move to the Yukon, if you can believe. We call her Queen of the North. And she moved to the Yukon, and she's been going gangbusters. They don't have many mortgage offerings in Yukon, and she's going crazy. So it's cool that you can do things. And one of the reasons I got into mortgage brokering was because of the diversity of where you can do things, right? We have deals going out east right now, out west, every province, regardless of where it is, we try to figure it out. And then we don't say we specialize in every single province, but our whole goal of building this team was, can we build a team that each agent specializes in an area or a subject matter expert? So then I can feed them, right? You're seeing, we have first-time home buyer specialists, we have commercial specialists, we have people that deal with debt consolidation. So we want to connect clients with mortgage brokers who are actually our mortgage agents who are really passionate about that.
Yep.
So it gives that level of experience that, or that that journey, mortgage journey or client journey that's, unmatched.
When you were saying that, a question popped into my mind. there seems to be a lot of apprehension there with people not all that long ago, 4 or 5 years ago. They got a mortgage, 1.9%. Now they're having to renew at what is actually, if you look at the past 30 or 40 years or something, if they have to renew it, 4.9% or something like that. But that's still, a real step up from 1.9 to
Yeah, for sure.
4.5 or something like that. Do you have a program or do you have anything that might be able to help those people who are maybe coming up to renewal and going, I'm not sure we can afford this?
Yeah, for sure. So the good news is it was at the 4.95%. Now you should be around the 4%. So, and dipping down. And we'll get into kind of why it's dipping down. But we've been doing something in January and really the first quarter of the year. We call it the checkup from the neck up. So we're a financial checkup from the neck up. We're actually saying if you have a renewal anytime in this year, talk now. Let's talk now. And I've been doing this a lot in January, and we're booking into like mid-February now, and more to the end. But we advise you to go and have the conversation now, even if your renewal's in August, because you want to have enough room to make sure that you identify any issues or any holes that we can plug, to make sure that you get the best offering. Because if we get you the best offering, the best on the market right now is around 4%. And by August, say it's going to be around 3% or 3.5%, guessing. But you want to be prepared of what the payment difference is going to be. And also you want to make sure, like, are you carrying long-term debt? Do you have long-term credit cards that are maxed that you're just going to be carrying? And maybe we look at getting rid of those things. Right? Because when you're at renewal, that is the time to look at that, for sure. And that's what we're finding, like having those conversations early is really important. So financial checkup from the neck up. Honestly, book a call with me or my team and we can at least get you on the right path. It's free. And we spend the time in making sure, like we treat it as if you're doing the mortgage now. It's just making sure that you get your ducks in a row. And then when time comes, you're just updating a couple of documents and you're good to go. And you can at least know that payment might decrease from 1.9 to say even the 3s. But you won't be shocked.
Yep.
Right? And at least you have time to prepare for that.
Being prepared is one of the best things that you can possibly do, and preparing more before and not at the time when you're panicking is a much better thing to do. We will put in Paul's contact information in here. And as you probably have seen, I have an intro and an outro. So just before the outro, we'll also put in his contact information. Strongly suggest that you give him a call more sooner than later.
Yeah.
Even if you're a first-time buyer, give Paul and his team a call. And if you're thinking, I guess, about buying something maybe in the fall, now's the time to get your ducks in a row. And from the neck up, we'll tell you exactly how to do that.
For sure. First-time home buyers to me is, like, for my personal business, I'm about turning first-time home buyers into first-time investors. A lot of times you'll see that happen where, they can't afford what they really want. But then I say, well, have you ever considered, as long as it's usually the wife, as long as the wife's on board, it can be an easy conversation, right? Because one, now you're moving into a unit. It might be short-term, but now you can use the other unit's rent on your application, and it can increase what you can afford. And then if you're willing to take that sacrifice, even for a year, now you buy what you wanted, and now you have 2 rents that will help you qualify for that mortgage.
And help you probably with the positive cash flow, pay for your mortgage on your forever home from your investment property.
Yes. And the other benefit it would be also that other unit can help you save more down payment, right? And so those are the benefits that I really see. But we do have first-time homebuyer specialists. They have guides. They walk you through. They hold their hand, and through the whole process. We do that normally, but we go even further for first-time homebuyers because, how many people, we get to the end of the deal and closing day and like, oh, I forgot to get insurance. So we make sure that doesn't happen by giving them prompts.
Yep.
There's little things like, oh, we need a lawyer. So there's stuff like that where people don't understand why they need a lawyer and how. So those are the types of things that we make sure that we spend a lot more effort than normal for first-time homebuyers.
So a little pitch for Rick. Not many people know this, but I am a certified real estate investment coach. And what he just said, you've been listening to me, haven't you? What he just said is what I tell first-time buyers. Go on in, get an investment property, use the other income to either lower your payments. You can literally buy a duplex for maybe $1,000 or $1,200 a month if you take into consideration the income from the other unit. So if you're wondering about affordability, there are ways to do this.
Yeah.
And the worst thing to do is maybe talk to Uncle Harry over the back fence and Archie Bunker or something like that. And I know what you. Come talk to an expert. You want mortgaging? Come talk to an expert. I and he will tell you the truth. And most times, there is a solution. No matter what your situation is, there is a solid solution.
Yeah, I think it's not just the solution in front of you. Sometimes it's that solution's a year out. Whatever. You need to know where you are. I always say, know where you are. Whether if you don't think you're ready, so there'd be so many people that are ready. Because there's a lot of creative solutions, but also if at least you can see where you aren't and you can bridge that gap over time. Another cool thing I think we should mention is rent to own programs. One, we're launching a rent to own kind of matchmaking. So we have a lot of investors who want to get involved in rent to owns. So we're going to be intaking them really soon, which we already have a roster. But then we have a rent to own people who are, it makes sense for them. We want to get people into houses, right? And so rent to own, I know you know a lot about rent to own, you've done a lot. And I think we can talk further about it in future episodes for sure. But rent to own is a cool solution. And I have investors who are getting really creative, like rent to own even on a investment property, stuff like that.
Done them.
Yeah, so those are really cool things that people what is rent to own? Well, the first part for me in rent to own is let me see where you are, whether a pre-approval or a pre-approval that doesn't get you to where you are, but at least you know where you are. And then rent to own can get you in something today. It might make a lot of sense for you. And there's definitely a niche or a lot of demographic that think that they can never get into housing, but rent to own is a great option.
The one thing that rent to own does for me is when I meet people, normally in this office, and they get a hold of me somehow, find an ad, and they say, there's no way that we can ever get into a housing, there's no way that we can ever, and typically, to be very honest with you, the wife sits there like this. The husband, his ears are open, and generally I'll look at the wife and I'll say, you're pretty skeptical, aren't you? Well, yeah, I just can't see us. Here's what's in it for me. 6 weeks later, when they're walking up the path to their house, through a rent to own, the only thing I want is a hug from both of them in a most manly way with the guy, but a nice hug from the woman. And I hear just about every time, this is amazing. We never thought that we could actually get into our own home. And here we are walking through the door. Rick, thank you so much. But it's a combination. I can't do it myself. We need the funding. You need the investors. There's other components that are necessary. And like Paul said, we'll probably, in a future episode, we'll probably do another one of these and specifically talk about rent to owns.
For sure.
There's a right way and a wrong way to do them, and you need to do it the right way. So that's why you need to talk to us.
Yeah, I think we should. We're probably coming to the end, but I don't want to end without talking about kind of what's happening in the world in terms of with rate and how it impacts rates. So we know right now when we're recording this, Trump has imposed tariffs, first round. I'll say first round because there could be more. And then Trudeau has responded with tariffs. So what has happened is over the weekend, actually, or within the last week, another BMO is they're economists. They've kind of indicated that we're going to go 1.5% down from now until October. Now until August or October.
Are you talking volume?
I'm talking about variable rates. So variable rates are going to Bank of Canada announcements, which everyone loves, even though they don't drive fixed rates, they do drive variables. They're going to be coming down 0.25 every announcement, basically, and even maybe more. So right now, a variable product makes a lot of sense for people. I have those conversations. Again, it's all about people's needs, but variable rate makes a lot of sense to ride the wave down and then lock in. But the people who had variables that were locked in would tell me, oof, I've seen my payments, go crazy. So regardless, fixed prices as well are going to come down. And I think the one thing I want to say is when you hear Bank of Canada announcements, that's all variable rates, right? And people always call me, oh, I'm going to get 3%. When they say 3%, that is the overnight rate. That is not what lenders are going to give you, right? And I get so many calls every single time that they make those announcements. Can I get 3%? But one, if you have like 5% and above mortgage, it's probably time to have at least this conversation about where you are, about possibly getting a lower rate, especially if you need to do things like debt consolidation or if you're planning kind of another purchase. Like those are things you do want to have that. We call an annual review. We'll do this for free. An annual review of what's going on in your life versus what's going on paper. Those are things that I think are very beneficial. And a part of our huge success in January has been having those conversations, right? My whole team is committed to being on the phone. So we try to be on the phone 2 hours a day. 2 hours a day just talking about people's situations, talking about things that might not be, and then obviously live deals, but it's more about the future forward thinking. And I think we're committed to that. And that's, you're not just wasting our time. We're not just going to, I'm not ready yet. It's always ready because you never know where the conversation can go.
This is what we do. I've had the same thing. People will call me and say, gee, I really hate to waste your time. I said, stop right there. You're not wasting my time. This is what I do.
Yeah.
I answer your questions. I walk you through the process. If there's nothing you can do, which that's 1% of the time, if there's nothing we can do, at least I'll be very honest and say, in your circumstances, there's nothing we can do. Wait a minute. Maybe there is something we can do. We can plan for the future. Coming kind of full circle right now. We can make plans and start now so that maybe in a year you will be in a position to take out a mortgage, buy a house, or even maybe right now the rent to own is a solution that puts everything in perspective over, say, a 3-year period. And that is then your kind of preparation point to the closing in probably about 3 years or so. So.
Yeah, for sure. I know that you're an investor. You investment in properties, and that's one other thing that we do is we have like a wealth plan, really, where we actually look at all of your assets, where you're going, what you have, and we look at what are your goals. You just do a survey. You look at what are your goals, and we try to figure out, okay, let's get a flight path from where we are now to your goals long term. We break it down short term, and we break it down again. So we reverse engineer it. That's where the engineering background and my background in numbers is. Let's figure out what you're going to do this year, right? And you had, I think, Jim. Jim is my huge story of. We did this with Jim. We reverse engineer. He's like, I got to do 4 flips this year, And when he had one closed, I believe you were involved in this first one, though, the one in Villages. So he had got a flipped it. And he sold it, and by the time he sold it, he was already on to the next one. And he wasn't like celebrating that he got his first flip and whatever. He was already on to the next one. So
moving on.
Those plans, because he know his goal for the year was, this is what I'm doing. And so we find everyone who's done these wealth plans, they've transacted more, right? And it's good for them, and it's good for what they're trying to achieve in terms of their goals. It's good for obviously the realtor partners to speak, because now you know what he's looking for. You know what he wants when he wants it, and it allows a more productive kind of transaction.
He's actually got a condo coming up for sale very shortly. So.
Yeah, so he's going because he's working this plan. He has a plan. We're going to review it every year, and he keeps the realtor involved. He keeps his accountant involved, and now everybody's working on the same page. And so I really strongly suggest the wealth plans. Reach out. I have in my Instagram account that I'll put here. There's a link in the bio that is actually specific for wealth plans. And I really, truly believe in them. And because I've seen the impact that they can do, right? When nobody plans that, whenever I talk to people, I say, why are you investing? And they say, I want to leave money for my kids, like generational wealth transfers. Where, one, they usually say, I want cash flow. They say, I want to, I was like, well, how much cash flow? They're like, $10,000 a month. They randomly always say this number of $10,000 a month. I don't know where it is. Maybe it's a social media thing, but everyone says $10,000. I say, why do you want $10,000 a month? They don't really know that.
Nope.
They don't know.
But we have actually the answers to that.
Exactly. And so, but you bring them through that. Like, why do you want it? And then it's like, okay, they usually get to after a certain amount of levels, depending on the person. generational wealth transfer is the most common thing. And so then we can be doing things now for generational wealth transfer, because it's not just about making money. It's about there's taxes, there's insurance, and those are the types of things that we have to have the conversation. So I have financial planners that do a lot of stuff pro bono for me to educate my clients, because I'm all about education, right? It's not just that you're getting a mortgage agent. I have an engineering background, I have a government background. I, try to bring all of those things to the table, and I'm truly committed in getting people to grow, right? So that is why my most favorite thing of what I do is the wealth plans, right? Because it's truly getting somebody's goals, bringing them there. And yeah, it's a great process. And, Jim is my guy, because I love seeing what he's been able to do. I have another
where he was and where he is.
And where he's going, right? And he has a clear path. And it's not that I'm not a financial advisor, right? But I do surround myself with great lawyers, great accountants, great financial. I know who to call, when to call. It's a power team. I call it the power team. And you're getting that power team because we are so good at working together, because we've worked together so often. And I'm not going to say, you go here because he's going to sell. It's never about that. It's all about service. Right? The teams are about service. And that's what I really pride myself on. I don't have any agreement with anybody to get a kickback on anything. It's more just I send people to where I think is best for them, based on the service levels that they're asking for, and who the professionals know that they can provide, right?
And it's never too late to start. If you think, well, I'm too old, or, I wish I had, it's never too, now, the younger you are right now, the better it is, because then we're talking generational wealth. You can give 1 or 2 homes to your kids on their wedding day or whatever. But no matter where you are in life, there is a solution. It's never, ever too late to start.
For sure. Education is the key.
Yeah.
Regardless if it's you or your family, having those conversations, they're worth it. They're worth it. I'm telling you. So, yeah.
Anything else to close, Paul?
So yeah, I'm obviously going to pitch First Class Mortgage Team. That is our team name. Dominion Lending Expert Financial is our brokerage. We are specialized agents helping people grow. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, an investor in the beginning, an investor in the middle, or investing in the end, meaning estate planning. Book a call with me or my team, and let's just have a conversation. It doesn't need to be you don't have to have your goals clear. Let's just have a conversation. And I find that, the financial checkup from the neck up, they've been working. And I'm going to continue doing them all for Q1, and we'll go from there. I guess one other thing in Q2, look out for basically a community where we're going to educate you and provide a course for you. And I know that's something that we can talk more about as well. So Paul McAllister, First Class Mortgage Team.
And Rick Rose, and I will kind of do the same thing. I'm experienced in every different type of real estate, whether it's a first-time buyer, a move-up buyer, a move-down buyer, ICI, which is investment, commercial, and industrial, farms, waterfronts. I have experience in just about every. After this many years, you just tend to grab the experience. So either phone him first and mention my name, or give me a call. I'll mention his name, and as part of the team, we'll help you solve your real estate problems. Anyway,
cool.
Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, reach out to either Paul or myself, depending on what the questions are, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.
Cheers.